Hey, what is going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and welcome back to another episode of ModChat. In case you do not know, this is a podcast that I do here at least monthly in two different forms. First of all, it is available on YouTube in a visual form, which I will give you all a heads up at the beginning here. This month is probably going to be a lot more visual, so if you're an audio-only listener, it might not be as entertaining, or I guess this specific episode here, since it's the second one of this month. But if you do want to take it around and listen to it like a audio-only podcast, since that's what this is as well, you can simply look up ModChat, all one word, on your favorite podcasting app, host, provider, site. We're not available on all of them, but it is available on most of them. So either way here, in ModChat, what I like to do is cover some things I find new, interesting, cool in the world of video game console modding. And here we're probably going to dedicate most, if not all, of this episode to the PlayStations related to BDJB. Now, as a refresher, BDJB from last month, this was covered. It was disclosed by the Flow, and while it was not released, there have been multiple awesome people who've been working on re-implementing it, and this is a method of exploitation for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and possibly even PlayStation 3, which uses the Blu-ray drive as a entry point using BDJ, which is the Java component where you can, run apps and such based on Java from a Blu-ray disc. So here I do have my PS4 on deck, and we're going to be using a few consoles here and checking this out. I do want to say I have not tried any of this, so this is all going to be new for me, just as you all are seeing it. I did kind of want to do that just so we can experience this together here in real time. I haven't even looked into videos of this, running. I've seen screenshots, but I haven't tried any of this myself. However, we are armed with a few things. Of course, I have a exploitable PlayStation 4. This one is already jailbroken and it's running firmware 9.00, and I believe, just looking at my notes here, this is supposed to work. BDJB is supposed to work up to 9.04 on PS4, and for PS5 it's supposed to work up to firmware 4.51. It's also important to say that this is not, at least at this time, this is not a full jailbreak. This is only a entry point. You see, to have a jailbreak, I'll even explain this and show this here, since this system is set up. Now, this is a piece of homebrew called Payload Guest, and as you can see, if I try to run it here, this is unsigned code. It's not going to run at all, unfortunately. So what you would do if you want to jailbreak the system, this is tethered. You would go over to settings, go to the user's guide or the internet browser. You would then go over to a exploit site like this, and from here you would go over and you would load your payload. Now, typically you would run GoldHen, and it uses two components. It uses a WebKit exploit, which is our entry point, and using that entry point, if you also have a kernel exploit, you can tie that in with the WebKit exploit, creating a full exploit chain, and then giving you a jailbreak, which will allow us to do everything else that we need and, all the fun stuff that we can have. So this is to say that this would be BDJB. It would essentially be replacing the WebKit component here. So what you would do is, if you had BDJB as a entry point, you would use that. You would then get a kernel exploit. You would pair them together. So you would use that as your entry point as opposed to the web browser here. Either way, we have not tried that, and that is all to say that this is still being re-implemented because the code from the flow was not released. The methods were disclosed, but I'm just really stressing that there. So at this point, there's a lot of developers who've been reverse engineering this and getting everything out there, and it's still a work in progress. So we're seeing little bits at a time, but we're going to try those little bits here. So first of all, the first public release here in a way was sleirsgovy's partial re-implementation of BDJB without the kernel. As said, it was built using this PS3 BDJ development kit, and there was a ISO available, and we can actually check out the GitHub page here. It states here, BDJB re-implementation based on the Flow's report and presentation, implements loading arbitrary bin payloads using vulnerabilities 2, 3, and 4 from the report, listens for payloads on port 9019, so that's going to be important. Now, since this only has 3 of the 5 vulnerabilities here, and specifically 2, 3, and 4, since it doesn't have vulnerability number 5, that means that this is not at least designed, and it probably won't be working on PlayStation 5. So that's why we're going to attack this on PlayStation 4 here first. Now, he also issued an updated ISO, so now there's 2 ISOs out, and we're going to use the second one right now. This one was released on June 20th. For this, I am going to be using PS4 Payload Cinder, and we have a few payloads that we can try. So one of them here is from Zekoshow, which states, those of you already created BDJB Blu-ray that are in 9.03 or 9.04, please test this payload. So we're going to be a little bit under, we're on a vulnerable firmware here still, but I still want to give this a shot at least, and it's just a hello world type thing. We also got a notification one as well too, so we can give that a shot. So here I've already got a few things kind of organized, downloaded and everything, and let's see, in my PS4 section, oh yeah, we also have psxdevs, but let's try Sleirs first, that's what we're going to try. So I'm going to burn the version 2 disk, and we're about to make some history here because I have never burned onto a BDRE disk. Now, just to show you all, I am going to be using image burn. I'm of course on Windows, and I did pick up a pack of 10 BDRE discs, which are rewritable Blu-ray discs. They are single layer, so 25 gigabytes, and they are from Verbatim. And I'm also going to be using a external USB 2.0, yes, USB 2.0, LG Blu-ray Burner. That's worked fine for years. I think I've had this thing for like 5 or 6 years at this point. So either way, I've popped the disk in here. I'm going to go to write image file to disk, bring this over here if I can. Let's see. There we go. All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. So this is using barely any data on here. We have it set to 2x. Disk needs formatting. Yep. Disk will be formatted. Yes. All right, there we go. So I'm not sure how much time this is going to take here. Again, it's been, good Lord, I can't even remember the last time I even burned onto a rewritable disk. I mean, it had to be a CDRW, but I know typically it is erased here, which essentially kind of just does a one-time burn to initialize the disk. So it will burn the entire disk, and then at that point you can, write your data and everything to it. So I'll let it do its thing here, and then we'll be back. This would also be a good time to clarify here while we're zeroing out all the sectors and just kind of restate something. In the last episode, I'd mentioned this because it was in the slides from the flow, but it seems to be that a requirement was using BDRE disks, remember, rewritable ones. And many people were rightfully so asking, why can't we just use regular BDR disks, which are one-time burns? And the answer is you actually can use those. The thing is, even if you're not going to be messing around with this or doing any development, there's not really much of a point of getting the disks in a Blu-ray burner right now, at least, since there's not anything, I guess, completely usable to the end user at this point. There's no full jailbreak that's released for BDJB utilizing that. So a part of that is, since this is being re-implemented, since it's being developed and worked on, and there is progress going on, there's going to be a lot of burns on disks. And so if you're prepared to just, waste a whole bunch of disks and generate a whole bunch of coasters for testing and updating your code and everything, you can use single-use disks. But if you're going to be doing a lot of, dynamic testing and such, and really just tweaking everything and doing a bunch of experiments and tests, then you should really be using the rewritable disks. So that's what we're doing here. So just an update here, we're at 99% for zeroing the sectors, and for me at 2x speed, which this is really the only speed you can burn this disk at, which is fine, that's what you're supposed to do. It's taken about 45-50 minutes to get here, so if you want to do this quickly, well, think again. Just plan accordingly. Oh, and of course that was fine since, all right here, this took 3 seconds as you can see to burn, so I guess we're all good at this point. That should be all fine. Yep, we got that. And let's go ahead and give this a shot. I actually just realized before I even popped this in here that you do need to at least activate the Blu-ray player by playing a Blu-ray, and I'm admittedly a little too lazy to do that here. So we're actually going to jailbreak the PS4 here real quick. I'm just going to go back over here. So this is just some prep work, and if you want to follow along with this, you're more than welcome to, but let's go ahead and launch Gold Hen. And wait. Alright, so got the whole process loaded up here. Should be all good. Let me remove the drive and hit OK. We're all set. Awesome. So in order to do this here, I'll have to go to settings, debug settings. Where is it? I think it's going to be, nope, not that one. license activation, that's it. And I'm just going to turn all these on, so that way we can actually watch a Blu-ray on here, because I've not done it on this console. So technically the system is jailbroken since I was able to access that, but I'm going to real quick here power cycle the system so we can get back to a stock state. Alright, so the PlayStation 4 has rebooted. We're trying out the disc here, and let's see what happens. I can hear it churning. There we go, Blu-ray disc. Let's go ahead and start this up. Oh, you know what? It would help if I turned on the controller. That'd be a huge help. Let's go ahead and start this up here and see what happens. Do we want to allow internet connection? Nah, it's fine. Yes, that's okay. And it seems like this is... Nope. Okay, we're getting this again. So button guide, back. Oh, it's playing it. So that's good. We just get a black screen here, so I think this is about all that we're going to get. Let's go back over to the computer then and see what we can do. All right, so over here at the computer, I plugged in my local IP address. This is going to be 9019, I believe. It was able to connect, so that's cool. Let's go ahead and browse for a payload. Let's try let's return send payload sent. Hey, look at that. So that's about all that does there. That's really cool. All right, so we are actually able to get this working on here. Now, unfortunately, we don't have kernel level access on this just because I talked about the jailbreak and such on there, but that's really cool to see. Let me go ahead, exit out of here. Let's see, just press the guide button, and I'm going to close the application, and let's try another payload. All right, so I'm going to extract the notification one. Let's go ahead and browse for our payload. Notification, payload.bin, send the payload sent. And I didn't get to see the notification on screen here at least, but we are getting some more information on here, so that's at least good. Let me see if I could do this all again here. So I'm recording only the PS4 here, but let's go ahead, try to send that notification payload again. And yep, when I do it, I just get this out of bounds exception. So there's at least something going on, something of nothing going on here, but that's fine. Let's try one more. Over here, I'm going to try ftps4. We can extract that. We have the payload.bin right there. Actually, I'm wondering if there is, nope, there's nothing else. Maybe I'm just doing that improperly. Let's give this a shot here again. So I'm going to try to send the ftps4 okay, still getting that. So let's see what's going on. So it looks like there's actually a couple users here, PRB as well as Echo Stretch. They're saying, PRB stating here they tried this on a 9.00 PS4, and they got the same results that I was getting here. And then apparently Echo Stretch was saying here they got the same firmware, but Sistro is going to try and fix this. However, this mentioned this with an updated ISO, so you know, let's just, I wasn't thinking of doing it, but let's just try that original ISO. All right, so here, let's try out that original. So I'm gonna go over to my folders, go here, try this one, not the updated one. I'm using that same disk, so yep, we're going to overwrite, and let's give this a shot and see what we're doing right here. This is exactly why it's recommended to have those rewritable disks right now, just from, again, all this testing. So I've just popped it in here. This is the original one that we have not tested yet. Let's give this one a shot. Looks like we should be at that black screen, so let's try and load this up. So I can connect. I'm going to grab the payload that we need. Let's try notification. And let's try to send it over. So I did send over the payload just now. Again, black screen, but I'm going to wait here for a bit and see what happens. All right, so that took about a minute, just over a minute, but we got hello world and hello world greetings from BDJB. So it takes a lot longer on the original ISO, but this payload is working. Let's try this out again. For each of these tests, I'm just going in, closing out of the Blu-ray application, and we'll try it again after this. This time I'm going to try FTPS4, that's it. Yet again, we can connect. We're going to browse out for FTPS4 payload and sent. Oh, wow, that was quick. That took a few seconds. So we got the IP, we got the port number, And let's actually give this, so we're not going to see any activity on here, but let's give this a shot over on our computer. Over here, I already have a WinSCP set up, so I have the IP address, the port number. Let's give this a shot. That's it. Like, holy crap, that's cool. We have FTP access on here. Huh. All right, there's the. Oh my goodness. I just have kind of a dumb smile on my face right now, but like this is it. This is really cool. All right, awesome. So we at least have a few payloads working there, and that's interesting that not sure what the differences are, but again, out of my ISOs, it looks like out of the Slayers ones, the original one seems to work just fine with these payloads. I'm not going to do the Hello World one because, I mean, we already have the other two working. But this one I'm not able to get working on 9.00 with any of the other payloads. So I guess maybe use the original one if you can. Now you all have probably seen this psxdev BDJB one right here, and there's a sample ISO for it. So it looks like this is another reimplementation here from psxdev. And it's stating here, BDJB is a BDJB reimplementation for Prospero based on the Flow report and sleirsgoevy codebase. Now, this one is only using vulnerability number 2, and they also added UDP logging on here. So it's supposed to look a little bit something like this once that's all, initialized and such, but I'm just wanting to see what we can do. This one, we're not going to be able to, launch any payloads off it, but let's give this one a shot here. Now, this is another one that was compiled and shared, thankfully, by Zekoshow. So this is a sample ISO. We'll give this one a shot. I'm pretty sure this one's it here, but again, let's go in here, grab the sample ISO. We're going to burn that and see what happens. The real nice thing is these burn in like seconds. The hardest part is just, well, I guess the longest part in this process is initializing the disk. But once you do, it's all good. So again, this is that sample ISO. Let's give this a shot here. And that actually gives us a little bit of output here. So we got our UDP logger that is set on 192.168.1.11. We've got a SOCAT there with the port number. It's actually showing us some stuff on here, so that's cool, and it's giving us, I guess, a list of files. So this one's only vulnerability 2, I believe, but that's what we get on here, which is pretty neat to see. So awesome. We're going to try out the bigboss.iso one here. This is the third one I have to share at least, so, or technically fourth one, I guess. Either way, let's fire this up. And here we go. It is invoking a list. I'm wondering if there's going to be any more on this, but it's at least not showing it here. But either way, we do have this displaying something, so that's definitely cool. Now, I am curious about something. Let's actually go back to an older system here. I've seen some posts about this, but I have not tried it myself. So yes, we went back. We're going on to the PlayStation 3. I've put the Big Boss ISO file in here. Well, I guess burned the ISO, and we have this. So let's try this out. Now, this PS3 is modded. However, PS3 Hin is not running on this. It is installed, but it's not running since, you can even try something like this, and it should fail out here. Y'all can see we just get an error, so that means that we haven't enabled Hin. So this is operating like a stock console. But let's try out the Blu-ray. So unfortunately, it just gave us a black screen here, which I kind of expected, but nothing on this ISO at least. Let's go ahead and try and burn this off here again. You all already know the deal here. I'm actually going to go back to sample. The reason why I'm not doing this one here, the sleirsgoevy one, is just because it's only a black screen, and we really don't have, a payload pusher in the sense we would think of for the PS3 here. I know there's some that are out there, but like we don't have any, I guess, specific payloads on this. So that's why I'm hoping to have at least something visual on here. But let's burn this. All right, with the sample ISO, we can give this a shot like before. And yet again here, just a black screen, so not getting anything on this. It was all good. It was worth trying to hook up the PlayStation 3, but Nothing here, so I'm just going to quit Playback and we'll move on to the next thing. Alright, so check this out. We are on a PlayStation 5. Now this PS5, it has been offline and it's on firmware 04.03. So I'm going to try to pop the Blu-ray in here. And now there's no like public mod for it or anything yet, so I can't run any type of jailbreak on this. So with that, I'm not sure if I'll need to pop a regular Blu-ray in here, but let's go ahead and give this one a shot. So again, this is that sample.iso file. Yeah, that's fine. And yep, that's okay. And hey, would you look at that? So we did end up getting a little bit of a different output on here. That's cool to see so far. All right. And there's one more ISO that we can test on this. I know I've shown this multiple times, but I guess it's more of a proof thing here. We're going to go back over to, not Slears, no, not even this folder. I'll go over to the, by the way, there's nothing in the PS5 folder, but for PS4 PS5, let's load up that Big Boss one. And burn. Well, with the final ISO we're going to test, I just loaded it up here, and again, that's nice here that I don't have to, run another Blu-ray or anything, but let's give this one a shot. And let's see, on this one here, this is about all we're getting, at least on the Big Boss ISO. So it looks like I guess what happens here has been the same on both PS4 and PS5 with these other two that are only showing implementation number 2. But when it comes to the just black screen one where you're waiting for a payload, I know again that one's not going to work on PS5 since we really don't have a payload launcher or anything on there, or I guess payload sender. So I'm not going to try that one, but we at least got something cool on this, so at least some piece of homebrew through BDJ. That's cool. Either way, these have been some fun experiments to try out here. So for the end user, not really all too much on this, which is absolutely expected. For anybody wondering, hey, should I go out and get a Blu-ray Burner and discs and try this stuff out? I mean, you've pretty much seen about what there is to see right now. If you want to reverse engineer, you want to be a developer, you want to do some type of development on this, absolutely. But if you're looking for something that is kind of nicely packaged up and usable to the end user immediately, no, there's not really a rush. Don't worry, like Blu-ray burners and BDRE discs are not going anywhere. That's going to be fine. However, even as for finding a console, like recommendations or anything on there, I guess it'd be even hard to really specifically pick a firmware on here which this can be exploitable on. We do know that this seems to be exploitable for PS5 on up to firmware 4.51, with a lot of people believing that there'll be a jailbreak for 04.03. With PS4, I believe it's supposed to go up to 9.04, but we already have the 9.00 jailbreak on there. Point being, I don't really want to recommend going out and getting a console, mostly because it'd be kind of a thing where you might get it and wait, and there's no promise of anything specifically happening, so it's more maybe when we see something come to fruition on this. But either way, what we're seeing so far is pretty cool. So at the end of these episodes, I don't really have anything else on this topic wise. I kind of just wanted to cover these here, but I do like to kind of pick something for a keyword or a key phrase that can be used in the comments if you've made it to the end. And I was going to say like blue or Blu-ray, but no, I mean, there's going to be people talking about that. So how about red, like as in the color red? Do you love the color red? Do you hate the color red? Do you think there should be a red laser in here instead of a blue laser? I don't know. There was a lot of stuff that was like that before. But either way, if you use the word red in your comment on the YouTube upload, I'll know that you've made it to the end. Anyways, wrapping up for real here. If you enjoyed this, a like would absolutely be appreciated. If you didn't, a dislike is fine as well too. This is Mr. Mario, signing off. Thank you all for watching and listening, everyone. And until next time.